Welcome to the Voice of America's Newswords.
Listen to see whether you can hear the word that means one side.
The possibility and the risk of some shots being fired or some aircraft or ship being shot at has increased markedly because of Chinese unilateral changes to the status quo.
Unilateral means involving one group or country.
It is when a country or a group takes an action or makes a decision alone. This can happen without the agreement of others.
And often, a unilateral action is good only for the side that acts. Now, when you hear the word unilateral,
your American English will be good enough to know what this newsword means.
Welcome to the Voice of America's Newswords. You might have heard this word used in a story about relations between two countries.
Mr. Karzai has set new conditions and wants to delay signing the accord until after next year's elections, prompting U.S. threats of a complete withdrawal.
In this story, the word accord means an official agreement or treaty between the two countries, the United States and Afghanistan.
Sometimes the word accord means to give something to a person or group of people. For example, the U.S. Constitution accords the President the right to conduct foreign policy.
So, the next time you hear the word accord, you will know what this newsword means.
Welcome to the Voice of America's Newswords. This word is something you use at meetings.
Agenda.
When NATO leaders last met in Chicago, Afghanistan was at the top of their agenda, and Russia was considered a partner in addressing issues like terrorism and nuclear weapons proliferation. This year, responding to Russia's annexation of Crimea and its invasion of eastern Ukraine will top the agenda.
An agenda is a list of what will be done or discussed at a meeting. Agendas are usually used at formal meetings, like the one in our story.
An agenda can be personal too, a secret plan that guides a person's behavior.
Now, the next time you hear the word agenda, you will know what this newsword means. Welcome to Voice of America's Newswords. Here is a story about Mexico letting private investors explore for oil.
Analyst.
The Mexican government is projecting $10 to $15 billion a year in investments within a few years, but analysts see technological, environmental, and security problems ahead.
An analyst is an expert in a subject. The word comes from analysis, which means to examine something and to understand it.
Often, reporters talk with analysts to help explain the news.
So the next time you hear the word analysts, you will know what this news word means.
Visit our website, learningenglish.voanews.com, and leave a comment.
Welcome to the Voice of America's Newswords, where we explain words you hear in the news.
Today's word is about children who come to the United States illegally.
Apprehended.
In the last year, nearly 50,000 children from Central America have been apprehended at the U.S. border, overwhelming detention facilities. Many say they are fleeing gang violence and poverty.
Apprehended means someone has been detained or arrested. The immigrant children coming into the United States illegally were detained by immigration officials.
Often, when people are apprehended, they're wanted for a crime. So, the next time you hear the word apprehended,
you will know what this newsword means. Welcome to the Voice of America's Newswords.
Listen to this story about how the European Union is handling the crisis in Ukraine. See if you can pick out this word.
Assets. The European Union has frozen the assets of some former Ukrainian officials, while at the same time offering the country billions of dollars in aid.
Assets are valuable things, or even people. Some examples include property or investments.
The owner of frozen assets cannot use them or sell them. Countries freeze the assets of people or companies they suspect of doing something wrong.
Now, when you hear the word assets, you will know what this news word means.
Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words. This word does not mean something good.
Several municipalities declared bankruptcy before Detroit did, but their debts were smaller. Stockton, California owed $26 million, while Detroit owes $18.5 billion.
Bankruptcy means you don't have enough money to pay your debts. It is a formal and legal action. People, companies, and even cities can declare bankruptcy.
It often means that their property will be sold to pay their debts, and they will have a bad credit rating for years. Now, when you hear the word bankruptcy,
your English will be good enough to know what this news word means.
For more news words, visit our website at learningenglish.voanews.com. Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words.
At the presidential palace in Dakar, Senegal, U.S. President Barack Obama was welcomed by Senegalese President Macky Sall. Listen for the word that means two sides.
Bilateral talks covered a range of issues, from U.S. support for Senegal's democracy and infrastructure to joint security.
The word bilateral means having two sides. So bilateral talks are when the leaders of two countries discuss issues of joint concern.
Bilateral treaties are between two nations, and bilateral agreements can cover trade or other matters.
Now, when you hear the word bilateral, your English will be good enough to know what this news word means.
Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words. When you hear or read stories about green technology, you might hear this word:
biofuel.
Listen for the word biofuel in this story about turning trash or waste into energy.
What we're doing is taking that was originally headed for a landfill. Half of this material is going to be processed for the conversion of biofuel such as ethanol.
Biofuel is fuel made from plant material or animal waste. Ethanol is a biofuel made from corn and other plants. In the United States, ethanol is mixed with gasoline and used to run cars.
Now, when you hear the word biofuel, your American English will be good enough to know what this news word means.
Welcome to Voice of America's News Words, where we teach you about words in the news.
Democrats and Republicans are the two major U.S. political parties. Listen to Republican Senator John McCain talk about immigration reform.
I think we can show the country and the world that we are capable of tackling this issue, a looming and terrible issue that has to be resolved in a bipartisan basis.
Bipartisanship means to work together, even when people do not agree. On Capitol Hill, bipartisanship has been rare in recent years.
But on the issue of immigration, senators from both major parties work together to bring the reform bill up for debate. So when you hear the word bipartisanship,
you will know what this news word means.